This is actually my first metrics meeting. Yay! I'm Caroline Cinders. I'm from the Anti-Harassment Tools team. That's under our community tech team. And let's get started. And are you advancing? No. Nope. That's cute. Hold on one sec. Nope, that's not working. There we go. Great. So I guess the main theme of this meeting is what does it mean to be a Wikimedia contributor? We'll be hearing from a bunch of different contributors and editors from across the world, which will be super exciting. And this is our agenda. So we'll have some welcomes, introductions, the movement update, contributing to Wiki source, new editor experiences research, which I'm super excited to hear about, and then questions, discussions, and Wiki love. Awesome. And we have a bunch of new hires, which is super exciting. We have Cormac Parley from Audiences, Diego Saeze Tromper from Technology, Muska Noor, Ben Versbau, Sarvani Haran, Kulti Feng, Ramsey Isler, and Katie Gavigan. So that's really exciting. Awesome. And we have a bunch of Wiki anniversaries. So Brian Vibber's been here for 11 years. Wow. James Alexander has been here for 7 years. Jonathan Carell for 6 years. Andrew Bogat for 5 years. And it looks like we have a bunch of people who have been here for 2 years. So we have Chris Schilling, Peter Hendensgog, Eliza Barrios, Chuck Rosefalt, James Holder, Brendan Campbell, Gregory Varnum, Josh Miner. So they've all been here for 2 years. And we also have a lot of people that have been here for 1 year. So Sam Patton, Melody Kramer, Olga Vaislesa, Chelsea Sheen, Danny Kaufman, Pamela Swaby, and Alani Goto. That's super exciting. Great. So now we're moving to the movement update.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Oops, sorry. Yep.
So, hello, I'm Jorge Vargas, and I'm part of the Partnerships and Global Reach team. As you all know, Maria Cruz is usually the one doing the movement update, but I have the honor this month to take over the very hard job to share with you all of this. This time, we're also going to try something new, very exciting, which is having 2 of our community members speak in Spanish, and I'm going to act as a translator. So wish me luck. So with this, Ana Torres from Wikimedia Argentina is going to be talking about IberoConf 2017. Ana.
Hola, ¿hablo directamente en castellano, Jorge?
Sí, ese es el plan.
Ok, bueno. Bueno, muchas gracias por darnos la oportunidad de poder estar en esta sesión y sobre todo de explicarles un poco, más allá de lo que significó IberoConf, más allá de un simple encuentro regional, por qué lo hicimos, cómo, de qué manera, qué es lo que aprendimos y qué significó también o qué podemos hacer que signifiquen estos encuentros para el movimiento.
First of all, I want to give thanks everyone for the opportunity to explain what IberoConf was. Beyond just being a regional conference, there was a lot more than that. And we want to share what we learned, what we experienced, and how this opportunity can adapt to other things within the movement.
Bueno, la realidad es que nosotros, la última IberoConf que habíamos tenido fue en 2014 y veníamos hablando con los diferentes capítulos y grupos de usuarios que formamos parte de la red desde 2011 en la necesidad de poder volver a tener un encuentro regional que escapara un poco a la lógica que veníamos teniendo los últimos años, que era mucho de encontrarnos en las diferentes conferencias que se estaban haciendo alrededor del mundo por parte de Wikimedia. La red en sí misma venía teniendo como muy buenos resultados de trabajo articulado. Tiene grupos y capítulos muy fuertes, como pueden ser Wikimedia España, Wikimedia Chile, Wikimedia México, Wikimedia Argentina, por por la parte que nos toca, y también había grupos de usuarios que empezaban a tener como una serie de articulaciones interesantes que queríamos incorporar de una manera más orgánica, como podía ser el grupo de usuarios de Wikimujeres de España.
Since the last IberoConf in 2014, all of the affiliates that are part of the IberoCup network wanted to go beyond the usual meetups that we used to have in other Wikimedia events. We wanted to change the usual logic of these meetings and just have our own. The IberoCup network in itself has been doing a lot of good work besides not meeting these conferences. For instance, a lot of like the bigger or stronger chapters in the group, such as Wikimedia Spain, Wikimedia Argentina, Wikimedia Mexico, among others, have been working together in very interesting initiatives. But beyond that, there have also been a long and big collaboration with the smaller groups that are starting to join the network. For example, Wikimujeres, among others.
La realidad es que durante los últimos 3 años, que capaz para el movimiento IberoCop en sí mismo no estuvo lo suficientemente activo, para nosotros fueron los años en que más trabajamos, eso no es una realidad. La realidad es que durante los últimos 3 años tuvimos la capacidad de poder delimitar ciertas líneas estratégicas, que era lo que nos faltaban para poder impulsar de una manera más ordenada nuestro trabajo. Una de esas líneas casi fue liderada por Wikimedia México y nació de manera orgánica dentro de lo que era las demandas y el contexto latinoamericano, y tal cual nos lo estaban requiriendo a nivel contextual, y esa fue la línea estratégica de género. Gracias a Wikimedia México empezó con algunas actividades que actualmente están como muy posicionadas latinoamericanamente hablando, al menos, que son las editatonas, y eso nos ayudó y nos impulsó a trabajar de manera coordinada en los diferentes capítulos. Y después, a nivel de posicionamiento de nuestra cultura y nuestra idiosincrasia local, durante los últimos 3 años impulsamos más de 7.000, en términos de contenido, escribimos más de 7.000 artículos, por lo cual a nivel numérico, IberoCop como grupo y como grupo de trabajo hicimos muy buen trabajo durante los últimos 3 años. Creo que el desafío de IberoConf 2017 no pasaba por qué podemos hacer juntos, porque sentimos que seguimos pudiendo hacer un montón de cosas juntos y que podemos seguir teniendo buenos resultados. Creo que el desafío de IberoConf pasaba por preguntarnos a nosotros mismos: ¿queremos seguir siendo una red de proyectos y de actividades, o queremos ir un poco más allá? O sea, o queremos ser realmente una red de apoyo y una red que lidere también dentro del movimiento maneras y diferentes formas de generar inclusión de otras comunidades que actualmente no forman parte del movimiento Wikimedia y que sin las cuales no podemos hablar de este movimiento como un movimiento global.
All right, so in the past 3 years, we just wanted to let know that IberoCop was actually doing a lot of work. Although we were not able to get together, we were able to define our strategic lines, organize our work. For instance, one of the big strategic lines that was organized, and this came organically, starting to be led by Wikimedia Mexico, was our gender strategy. We started at the activities that some of you may know, the editatonas, and we started coordinating a lot of local events, local activities. We positioned our local context and created over 7,000 articles. So overall, IberoCop has been doing a lot in these past 3 years. For this, the challenge of IberoConf was not what can we do together, because we're already doing a lot together, but we wanted to ask ourselves, how could we go beyond this? How could we go beyond just doing common events? And how can we, for instance, start bringing new members to our community? How can we create or make IberoCop an actual regional group?
Sí, y después una de las cosas una de las cosas más importantes que generamos dentro de IberoConf 2017 fue justamente poder darle espacio, sobre todo a los grupos más chiquitos, a los grupos más minoritarios, que tampoco estaban teniendo como su lugar natural para poder expresarse por ejemplo, en el tema de la estrategia o la definición de la estrategia 2030, o sea, cuando tuvimos que diseñar el programa, más allá de lo que queríamos ser, también diseñamos un programa para atender nuestros límites y nuestros desafíos actuales, que pasaban mucho por esta idea de cómo hacemos para poder construir una región que sea muchísimo más inclusiva, por lo que necesitamos grupos y capítulos muchísimo más profesionalizados, y cómo hacemos para poder llevar eso, y también a que implique una discusión productiva para sumar, bueno, para poder sumar de manera cualitativa temas dentro de lo que es la estrategia o la discusión de la estrategia 2030, y también particularmente cómo le damos espacio a esos grupos minoritarios que por diferentes razones no estaban participando de manera activa, ¿no?
A lot of the smaller groups were not being able to participate actively in the Wikimedia 2030 strategy, and we wanted to give them also the space to be able to participate and work, discuss, and share their opinions. So for example, we really focused on how to create a more inclusive region, how to create a better professional chapters, how to make the smaller groups grow, and how to overall have a more productive integration of the smaller groups that were not being able to be represented and wanted and needed to have a voice within the Wikimedia 2030 strategy.
Bueno, particularmente nosotros organizamos una conferencia que tenía 2 tracks muy diferenciados que fueron delimitados, fueron delimitados en su totalidad por las demandas y las necesidades que cada uno de los grupos mostró. Invitamos a todos los grupos que están constituidos como tales para participar en el Iberocom. Y esos 2 tracks, uno era más que nada para favorecer la profesionalización de los capítulos y grupos de usuarios, y por el otro lado era justamente para hacer y vincular nuestras voces a la estrategia 2030 de una manera más fuerte y sobre todo más patente, dado que Iberocop en sí mismo, como grupos, estábamos relativamente poco participando en delimitar o en definir la estrategia 2030. Creo que hasta ese momento había menos pluralidad de voces.
So the conference was structured in 2 tracks based on what all of the participants wanted out of it. One track was the capacity building, and we brought the needs that some of the chapters and user groups have asked as things or spaces where they wanted to grow or learn more. But also we had a big, an important strategy track. So we created a track just devoted to Wikimedia 2030 discussions. We were cognizant and we were aware that Iberocop was not being very participative to that point. And with this, we were able to scale up all of the participation and be sure that they were more inclusive and included in the process.
Creo que aprendimos algunas cosas y por delante tenemos algunos desafíos. Creo que el desafío más grande que tiene la región es el poder realmente generar nuevas comunidades o apoyar las comunidades emergentes en los diferentes países en los que actualmente no tenemos comunidades de editores. O sea, Iberocop es una red muy inclusiva, pero es inclusiva justo hasta el punto en el que, es inclusiva en el punto en que podemos llegar a ver cómo lo explico, el punto, o sea, es inclusiva si tenemos comunidades en los países, es decir, incluimos a todos aquellos en los que detectamos que hay editores o comunidades emergentes que pueden formar parte, pero necesitamos seguir construyendo estas comunidades emergentes. Entonces tenemos en nosotros una oportunidad de poder realmente articular con diferentes contrapartes o articular con diferentes grupos de editores y de usuarios en diferentes otros países para que estos lleguen a formar parte de manera activa dentro de lo que es el movimiento Wikimedia. Necesitamos que eso pase porque la realidad es que si no, en unos años seguiremos siendo los mismos y no queremos ser los mismos, queremos realmente que el movimiento Wikimedia sea un movimiento global. Para ello tenemos un montón de aprendizajes y de desafíos y también de proyectos que ya hemos hecho y de cómo encararlos y de diferentes líneas estratégicas que podemos aplicar para ayudar a mentorear a estas nuevas comunidades que posiblemente puedan nacer en los próximos años. Y después también aprendimos que estos espacios de encuentro y de trabajo son sumamente necesarios. Más allá de los espacios de encuentro en los que nos podemos encontrar en las diferentes conferencias, necesitamos encontrarnos regionalmente porque muchas veces hay grupos muy minoritarios que solo están representados en estos lugares y en estos espacios. Y que darles la oportunidad y la voz de poder incurrir en diferentes debates los empodera para poder seguir hacia adelante y poder seguir creciendo y poder seguir generando una red a nivel regional cada vez más fuerte y sobre todo más diversa, que es lo que todos buscamos, ¿no?
One of the big learnings was definitely the big challenge that we have, which is how we can really support every community, every emerging community that is trying to exist within a region. We want to be inclusive, and we are inclusive as a regional group, as long as there are community members or people that we know that they're doing something. However, we want to work together with other community members for them to be able to be part of the Wikimedia movement besides the work that they're doing. We don't want to see ourselves as just being the same group as always, but we want to be able to mentor these groups, support these groups, and be able to have via different projects, different strategies, different learnings, a way to bring these emerging communities as part of the group, support them, and make them part of the region. Our other big learning was the fact that we definitely need a regional conference. We get together in all of the major Wikimedia events. However, not all of the groups in the region are there, particularly the smaller groups that cannot have a participant in one of the major Wikimedia conferences. And for this, we think that a regional conference such as IberoConf was very important because we were able to bring them a voice, they became part of the discussion, and we were able to finally get all together and reach that goal of inclusivity. That's our final goal at the end.
Sí, creo que IberoConf este año fue como una llamada de atención para todos los que formamos parte de la región. Creo que tenemos como mucha potencialidad para crecer, sobre todo desde esta parte sobre todo en el tema de mentoreo y en el tema de generar nuevas estrategias para que hacer de este movimiento sea realmente global. No nos podemos olvidar de Centroamérica, no nos podemos olvidar de Paraguay, no nos podemos olvidar de Bolivia, no nos podemos olvidar de tantos y tantos países que actualmente no forman parte y no sabemos muy bien qué va a pasar si nosotros no tomamos como responsabilidad sobre eso para incluirlos y que formen parte, y realmente ahí sí podremos hablar de que estamos compartiendo todo el conocimiento y a nivel global. Creo que IberoConf es una oportunidad ahora mismo, más allá de una red de trabajo, sobre todo actualmente una oportunidad para hacer crecer el conocimiento, una oportunidad para hacer que el movimiento sea más diverso, una oportunidad para hacer que el movimiento sea más inclusivo, y una oportunidad para apoyarnos los unos a los otros para poder seguir creciendo en pos de los objetivos y de la dirección estratégica que tenemos de manera muy similar. Aparte, es una comunidad de diversidad, seguiremos trabajando en temas de género y sobre todo este tipo de conferencias también nos ayudan a tener como resultados concretos. Uno de esos resultados, aparte de involucrarnos en el debate sobre la Estrategia 2030, uno de los grandes resultados fue la Carta de Buenos Aires. Por primera vez pudimos sentarnos y pudimos delimitar qué es aquello en lo que consideramos que Wikimedia Foundation nos puede ayudar y qué es aquello en lo que consideramos que queremos modificar, que queremos cambiar, o en lo que no nos sentimos representados. Y creo que eso es un paso fundamental, porque pasamos de la estancia más de la queja a la estancia más de la proposición, es decir, fuimos un paso más hacia adelante y fuimos más propositivos, más claros en nuestras peticiones, y sabemos que actualmente estamos trabajando con gente de la Fundación, a las cuales les agradecemos mucho el hecho de que le estén atendiendo nuestras demandas. Pero creo que particularmente este tipo de encuentros y IberoConf 2017 sirvió para tres cosas muy en concreto. La primera, para determinar que tenemos que hacer algo para seguir incluyendo diferentes comunidades emergentes, y lo tenemos que hacer ya. La segunda, para por primera vez ser propositivos con nuestras demandas y levantar la voz y saber que ustedes desde su lugar nos escuchan. Y la tercera, los encuentros regionales son fundamentales para involucrar voces minoritarias que ya están dentro del movimiento, pero que no se involucran porque se sienten muy solos, sí lo hacen desde sus espacios y desde sus contextos locales. Así que seguimos necesitando estas reuniones, estos encuentros como una pieza fundamental para seguir trabajando en pos de un movimiento más diverso.
So as our final conclusion in our idea of making this movement way more diverse, we realized that we need to be responsible as IberoCup to have a big opportunity to make knowledge grow, to bring more and more people. And we see a great opportunity in IberoCup to be inclusive and diverse. This continues to be in our strategy. Diversity continues to be one of our main pillars to work on. We will continue to be working on gender-related activities. And out of IberoConf, I can conclude that there were 3 concrete results. One was the Carta de Buenos Aires, which was an opportunity for us to be able to limit and phrase what we really wanted, the thoughts that we had related to the Wikimedia Foundation, how we thought we were not represented, how we thought they could help, how we thought that they were changes that could be made, and how we're able to evolve from complaints to specific proposals. And that for us was very important. Secondly, we were able to be more inclusive, and we learned that we need to continue to be more inclusive, bring in more people and more groups that cannot be represented. And this goes to the third one, which is a regional conference is definitely needed. There are smaller groups that cannot bring their voice to other different spaces or conferences. They're way more comfortable now that they have this opportunity. And for us, this was a very, very big learning.
Sí, eso es todo, creo.
That's all. Thank you. Carmen ahora va a hablar de Wiki Women Camp. Carmen, you're going to talk about Wiki Women Camp.
Bueno, buenos días a todas y a todos. Agradezco muchísimo esta oportunidad de compartir lo que vivimos acá en la Ciudad de México hace casi un mes, Wiki Women Camp 2017.
Good morning. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very grateful of this opportunity to be able to share with you what happened a month ago in Mexico City with Wiki Women Camp.
Bueno, pues yo pensé en hacer esta presentación muy breve. Primero decir qué fue Wiki Women Camp. Bueno, Wiki Women Camp es 2017 en Ciudad de México. Es la continuación del primer camp de mujeres que se hizo en Buenos Aires, Argentina, en 2012, en donde muchas mujeres que trabajan, participan en el movimiento Wikimedia, se juntaron para pues platicar de sus experiencias, casi todas negativas, sobre la participación de las mujeres en Wikipedia.
So Wiki Women Camp is basically a conference where a lot of different women get together. This is a continuation of the first camp that took place in Buenos Aires in 2012. And overall, this is an opportunity for women around the world that are part of the movement to get together and discuss experiences, unfortunately, usually negative, on how they participate and they see themselves represented in the movement.
Después de que nos dimos cuenta que había pasado mucho tiempo, de 5 años, de 2012 a la fecha, decidimos hacer un nuevo encuentro, porque consideramos que estos encuentros presenciales son muy importantes para el movimiento y te dejan muchísimo más aprendizaje que un encuentro en línea. Compartes no solamente en las sesiones, sino en el recorrido del hotel al venue, en la comida, después cuando paseas. No nada más es la hora que tienes para hacer tu presentación y resolver preguntas, ¿no?
For us, it was very important to make a presential event, an in-person event, because going beyond just sessions online was very important. Being in person allowed us to share beyond the sessions, to share when we were walking around, to share and talk and get together when we were just getting food together. And for us, this in-person events definitely continue to be very important.
Y bueno, una de las cosas de los resultados que dio este encuentro fue que nos dimos cuenta que todavía falta muchísimo trabajo por hacer en cuestiones de género, en el movimiento Wikimedia, pero también nos dimos cuenta de la importancia que le ha dado la Fundación a este punto. El apoyo que tuvimos de la Fundación fue admirable, nos hizo poder sacar el encuentro adelante. Pudimos también tener una sesión de estrategia de cómo lo vemos desde la visión de las mujeres, cómo vemos al movimiento en 2030. Pudimos tener una sesión con Catherine que nos resolvió muchísimas dudas del movimiento, de su dirección, pero también se construyó como una relación más cercana, más de amistad, de hermandad, preguntando cosas que tal vez no tendrían que ver mucho con el movimiento, pero que también nos sirven de contexto para la toma de decisiones que se tienen en la fundación.
Definitely one of the big results of this component is that there's a lot of work to be done in gender-related topics around the Wikimedia movement. We were able to recognize in the conference as a big conclusion that there's a lot to be done. And besides that, we also recognized that the Wikimedia Foundation gave us a lot of support. We were able to make this happen thanks to Wikimedia Foundation. There was not only a lot of support from them, but we were also able to link this to the 2030 Wikimedia discussion from a women perspective. We were able to see how, from the women perspective, we would relate to where the movement would be going. And finally, we were also very grateful to be able to have Catherine there. We were able to have a big session where we were just asking her a lot of different things and just overall create a closer relationship that we were going beyond just the typical online we used to have.
Y dentro de los retos a los que nos enfrentamos fue organizar el evento. Lo habíamos planificado hacia finales de 2016, por una cuestión de la aprobación del grant no sucedió, y entonces uno de los principales retos a los que nos enfrentamos fue que no teníamos un venue. Habían modificado los precios, los costos de los vuelos, del hospedaje, etcétera, pero al final creo que hicimos muy buen equipo. En la organización estuvimos participando Ana de Wikimedia Argentina y todo el equipo de Wikimedia Argentina, Wikimedia México, Wikimujeres y también la fundación. No hubiera sido posible sin el apoyo de Alex Duan, de Casey, la asesoría, el resolver cosas. No sé, dentro de los eventos que he participado en la organización dentro de Wikimedia México, como Wikimania, hubo cosas a las que no me enfrenté, como tener que rentar una silla de ruedas, contemplar espacios para personas con discapacidad. Estas cosas son muy importantes porque a veces no las contemplamos, ¿no? También tener un espacio por si alguna de las mujeres quería traer a su hijo o hija, tener como un espacio en donde pudiera pues estar atendido. Son cosas que tienes que contemplar y que yo he tratado de contemplarlas o de tenerlas en mente desde que surge Editatona, que son eventos exclusivos para mujeres y que poder este otro tipo de encuentros.
There was a big challenge, and one of the learnings was the big challenge that we had to just organize the event. When we came to it, there was we didn't have a venue. The plans that we initially had to change. Tickets, plane tickets, everything changed, and we had to just come up again with a lot of planning, and that was a big challenge. However, we had a great team that was able to make this happen. We had Wikimedia Argentina, all of the staff helping us. We had Wikimedia Mexico, we had Wikimedia Mujeres, and we also had the Wikimedia Foundation as part of this team. We had a big support from Casey. She was there giving us a lot of support, and we definitely learned a lot from this event compared to other events that Wikimedia Mexico has taken, including Wikimania a couple of years ago. Examples of this, we learned about challenges like having accessibility as a consideration that is needed. What if we need accessibility for wheelchairs? What if we also need a space for women that need or want to bring their children and be part of the event? How can we be able to keep this part of the event? These are things that I keep in mind, for example, when I bring them to the Editatonas, which are editathons just for women. And this was definitely a challenge that came with a big learning for us.
Y bueno, por último, ya para finalizar mi participación, de las cosas que logramos o los resultados que tuvimos, yo creo que el más importante, y es justo la fotografía que tenemos en la presentación, es que creamos una red, que nos estamos apoyando, que tenemos distintos proyectos en todo el mundo, que buscamos combatir esta brecha tan triste en Wikipedia, y no solo en Wikipedia, sino en la sociedad, esta brecha de género. Creamos un espacio muy amigable en donde nos contamos cómo resolvíamos la misma problemática que hay en todos los países, no importa la región del mundo, pero tenemos la manera de resolverlo porque hicimos una red de solidaridad de mujeres, ¿no? Y la última foto que yo puse en la presentación pues eso es lo que resume, ¿no? Fue la última sesión, hicimos una red tangible de estambre, pero esto está sucediendo en la realidad, ¿no? Tenemos un chat, por ejemplo, en Telegram, en donde nos estamos preguntando cosas, donde nos estamos informando de otras, y bueno, no, esto no acaba aquí, o sea, vamos a seguir haciendo estos encuentros, será el próximo Wiki Women Camp, y tendremos que seguir trabajando juntas.
And as a final conclusion, definitely for us, we were able to create a network of women, a network of solidarity that was able to create a space where we could support ourselves, where we could start thinking about projects from a global perspective and also from a local perspective to fight this huge gender gap that exists not only in Wikipedia, but just overall in society. We were able to create a friendly space where we can just share our experiences, how we address different challenges that all of us had in different parts of the world, but we're the same. Finally, I think that the best way to just show the conclusion of this was this last picture during the event. And it's the last picture that I'm sharing with you right now. We made an actual tangible web, an actual network that just shows how we were able to create this amazing network of women to support each other. We started actually having specific actions out of it. We created a Telegram chat, for instance, where we share, we discuss, we support each other. And there's definitely much more to go. There's much more to be done. And we are looking forward for the next Wiki Women Camp that should take place.
Y bueno, pues agradezco muchísimo la oportunidad de contar acá cómo sucedió. En breve va a estar listo el reporte por si quieren leerlo. Y para concluir, agradezco mucho a todo el voluntariado de Wikimedia México, a Iván y a Salvador, que decidieron pedir un par de días de vacaciones para ayudarnos, Verónica, Claudia, todas las chicas del capítulo, obviamente a todo Wikimedia Argentina y a María Sefidari de Wikimujeres, porque no hubiera sido posible sin ese impulso y sin ese entusiasmo que saben contagiar. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. Finally, I want to thank you all for this opportunity, and I definitely need to have an opportunity to thank everyone that was part of this, all of the volunteers of Wikimedia Mexico, Ivan and Salvador that were able to take a couple of days off just to support us, all of the women that were part of Wikimedia Mexico, all of Wikimedia Argentina, and also thank particularly Maria Safidari of Wikimujeres. Thanks to her, this was able to happen. She was able to motivate us, and I really want to thank her for this. Again, thank you very much, and I think that we can move forward. Gracias. All right, now I have the challenge to share some other updates in 30 seconds. One will be definitely very important. The draft of the movement strategy direction, as we all know, we are discussing the Wikimedia 2030 strategic draft. After Wikimania, a lot of different comments and also through the wikis have been coming. So please keep coming up, please keep discussing. There is gonna be a second draft published sometime in early to mid-September. After that, we will have a 2-week period for community review. So if everything goes according to plan, this final draft of the strategic direction will be posted by the end of September. SUSE also completed a how-to draft for community members to design and build their own training modules. So check out the link. And finally, Talent Culture launched an inclusion survey. This inclusion survey is open to all of Wikimedia Foundation staff, contractors, temps, interns. Participation is voluntary, and we really encourage candid responses. So participate if you're interested in being part of this inclusion survey. The link is in an email sent by Angel a couple of days ago, and it closes tomorrow, September 1st. And coming up in September, there's going to be Wikimedia SE annual meeting, September 22 to 26th in Poland. This is the 6th annual conference, and it's going to be very interesting. Check it out when it's coming up. And finally, for the 2017 Wikimedia strategy process, September, as we mentioned, is very important. Draft 2 will be out there mid-September, and there's going to be 2 weeks for community review. So please continue to add comments. Please continue to help us shape how Wikimedia 2030 will look like. Thank you. Carolyn, I think you're back to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to introduce Sonia Baum, a user at London Jackbooks. She's going to be talking about contributing to Wikisource. Sonia, are you ready?
I am. Great. Hello, everyone, and can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. I'm Sonia Baum, and I'm a volunteer contributor at the English Wikisource, and I wanted to thank you for this opportunity to speak about it. Just to note before my talk that I do not represent Wikisource, but I speak only of my own personal experiences and opinions. Let's see. For those not familiar with Wikisource, it's a Wikimedia Foundation project, an online library of free content source texts with genres from poetry to technology, fiction and nonfiction, and dictionaries and encyclopedias, all transcribed from original source texts by volunteers. Several tutorials are available online, written and presented independently by contributors that explain how to edit Wikisource. I will talk about the whys of contributing and what it means to me. Next slide, please. Purpose. A little background information. Back in the 80s, I stumbled across a 2-volume set of collected poems from 1916, written by a woman named Florence Earle Coates. Born into a family of Philadelphia Quakers, lawyers, and abolitionists, her poems sing of universal themes such as life, death, grief, hope, and striving for the stars despite hardship and toil. For 2 decades, I knew nothing about Mrs. Coates's life, but I had grown to love her poetry. Between 2007 and 2009, through extensive research, I gathered enough notable information together to create her Wikipedia article. My introduction to Wikisource that same year involved a contribution of mine being marked for a proposed deletion. I had self-published a pamphlet of public domain war poems written by Mrs. Coates and thought I would host the work at Wikisource. But there was concern that as a self-published anthology, it has, quote, a collection copyright, for you cannot produce a new anthology with the same works in the same order, end quote. After some more discussion, another contributor suggested that an even better contribution would be if I provide the wealth of transcriptions from the poet's original publications. I ate some humble pie and reconsidered my purpose for contributing. 2 years later, I successfully finished adding Mrs. Coates's complete works to Wikisource and most of her fugitive poems. During that time, I was also drawn in by the writings of other authors and poets, and my interest in the project expanded and continues to this day. Editing Wikisource allows me to exercise many of my hobbies and skill sets, such as reading, proofreading, and image editing. My contribution at Wikisource consists mostly of proofreading texts. Proofreading involves side-by-side comparison of an image of original text with OCR-generated text. General formatting is required, but often more technical formatting is called for. Other contributors have greater technical skills, which I lack, and are available to help when more difficult formatting is needed. I also enjoy working with images. High-quality image reproduction makes for a quality product and is an important aspect of proofreading texts with illustrations. Texts are transcribed letter by letter, word by word, line by line, and page by page. Attention to detail is key. I believe one should take on the task of proofreading with the heart and dedication of a monastic scribe. Just to note, the image on this slide is a platinum print photograph of Florence Earle Coates that I found pasted into the front board of a volume of her poetry, which I purchased online. I scanned the photograph and placed it into the public domain at Wikimedia Commons. It was restored by a Wiki Commons contributor and is now a featured picture. Next slide, please. Lessons learned. Editing Wikisource is a community effort. Collaborative projects exist, such as Proofread of the Month, but in many cases, you'll find individual contributors working on projects by themselves in which they hold particular interest. Where consistency of formatting is concerned, which is sought after, this can be a positive thing. Be courteous. Even though no contributor can lay claim to any part of Wikisource, and contributors are free to edit where they choose, it's my opinion that a certain amount of courtesy should still be exercised when considering proofreading a work another contributor is working on. Asking permission first is advisable and courteous. Best practice. Not all contributors agree on best practice where formatting is concerned. There are often several different formatting methods available for text rendering, and much comes down to personal preference and the nature of the work itself. A good rule of thumb is to keep formatting as simple as possible and consistent throughout a work. Annotation. The practice of user annotation of texts has been a point of discussion at Wikisource, and there is guidance available, but generally speaking, a clean text is preferred. One permissible and encouraged method of annotation is wiki linking within the Wikisource project. This practice allows readers the ability to cross-reference other works and author pages hosted at the project in a way that doesn't alter the author's original message. It's my opinion that just as one would not mark up a physical library book with embellishment or commentary, one should not add to, modify, or remove content during the transcription process of a Wikisource library text, with rare exception. Wiki linking within Wikisource is one exception, and its implementation invites us to take part in a larger conversation. Next slide, please. The bigger picture. Whereas Wikipedia is a source of information, Wikisource is a source of inspiration, a library of ideas where authors speak for themselves through their writing. It's the responsibility of the reader to discern fact from fiction, truth from error. In the words of Robert M. Hutchins from his 1951 preface to The Great Conversation, I quote, "The task of interpretation is the reader's. This is the machinery of life in the hands of free men." End quote. Lines from Shakespeare's Hamlet read, "He that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not that capability and godlike reason to fuss in us unused." End quote. It's our capacity to reason that some believe separates man from beast. Whether contributor or reader at Wikisource, with an open mind, one will find oneself immersed in a conversation, a discourse of ideas. Interaction with Wikisource helps us to remember our past and allows us to build up upon the lessons of the past in order to create a better future. It's an opportunity to use our godlike reason to benefit not only ourselves, but the world at large. Wikisource volunteers make this discourse of ideas accessible to everyone to learn from and enjoy. It's the bigger picture of why I edit. Consider joining in on the conversation. Search the project for a favorite author's works to see if there are current projects to work on, or fill in the gaps by starting your own project. Perhaps introduce yourself at central discussion and ask other contributors about ways you can help, or jump right into the current proofread of the month. Editing Wikisource may appear daunting to a new contributor, but having a purpose and a desire to contribute is half the battle. Take things slow, ask for help, and have patience with the process as well as with other contributors. Be sure to come equipped with an internal motivation to contribute, for editing a wiki can at times be a thankless job, yet highly rewarding. Thanks for listening and happy editing.
Thank you, Sonia. That was an amazing presentation. And I am excited to introduce Abby and Neil to talk about new editor experiences research.
I'm Abby Ripstra, the lead designer at Wikimedia Foundation,
And I'm Neil Patel-Quinn, product analyst in the contributors team.
and we want you to meet Lenka. We met Lenka in the Czech Republic in Brno. She's a customer assistant, and in her spare time, she reads a lot, she runs a book club, she travels with her friends, and she's also a new editor. She first learned to edit Wikipedia when she went to check out the senior Wiki Club in Brno Public Library for her mom, who wanted to meet some more people. And at that Wiki Club, Lenka met people, and she learned about contributing to Wikipedia. She practices in her sandbox, and she's created an article on English Wikipedia about a movie she likes. Since her first Wiki Club, she hasn't edited a lot. We're not sure if she'll continue editing, but we're not sure if she'll continue editing or not. But she is a prolific editor on TripAdvisor. She writes a lot there. She gives feedback on places she's gone. She likes contributing there, and she feels fulfillment from that because she can see her contributions. She can see the impacts of what she's done there. She likes that. So also meet Fluid. We met Fluid in Seoul, Korea, Seoul, South Korea. She lives in Seoul and she's focused on creating and spreading more awareness about feminism and women's issues. She writes on her own website, on Twitter, a Korean Wikipedia about feminism called FemiWiki, and on Korean and English Wikipedias. And she first started editing Wikipedia when she attended a Wikipedia and FemiWiki editathon in Seoul. She mostly translates English Wikipedia articles about feminism and women's issues into Korean and then adds them to FemiWiki and Korean Wikipedia. She told us that the satisfaction level is high for her. She likes how information is being stored on Wikipedia, that it's open, it's going to be there for a while. She likes contributing to the feminist movement, and she feels it will help creating more awareness on the issues she cares about. She's made 167 edits, and her last edit was on August 21st. Signs are that she's going to keep going. Yeah.
Gracias, Javi. Conocimos a Lenka, a Fluid y a 62 otros editores sumamente fascinantes. No, we're not going to do that. Just embarrassing. But we met Lenka, Fluid, and 62 other fascinating editors in the Czech Republic and South Korea, where we went in May and June of this year as part of a project we call New Editor Experiences. So we know that when new editors are able to join Wikipedia and to successfully learn to contribute, they make us better, more complete and balanced as an encyclopedia, and more vibrant as a community. So to learn more about what works and what doesn't for new editors, we wanted a chance to get to meet some of them face to face and hear their stories directly. In particular, we wanted to learn about their backgrounds and motivations, what they do for work and play, particularly online, and why. We also wanted to learn about their engagement with Wikipedia, how they first found out about it, how they use it, how they first learned they could edit, and why they decided to give it a try. And finally, we wanted to learn more about how the people and the software they encountered as new editors shaped their experience and how it shaped how they continued to edit or didn't. Since we only had the resources to visit 2 communities, we picked the Korean and Czech Wikipedias for a couple different reasons. First, they're both mid-sized Wikipedias with about 700 active editors per month. And most of the research and product development related to Wikipedia that's been done has tended to focus on the biggest Wikipedias, like English and German. In addition, the Czech Republic and South Korea, where these projects are based, are small countries. It makes it easy to travel around and meet a lot of people in a short period of time. And there are also countries that are far apart, which allows us to see how patterns of new editor experiences compare across different societies. And finally, the Czech chapter is particularly well-resourced and has some particularly well-developed new editor programs like this Seniors Edit Wikipedia course. And we wanted to see how that impacted the Czech Wikipedia's relationship with new editors. So to find participants, we emailed essentially all the users who had registered and started editing these projects within the past 6 months or a year. We also looked to recruit from a small set of experienced editors who we knew interacted a lot with new editors, whether by writing on their talk pages, reverting their edits, or leading new editor programs. And we thought this was particularly important because in addition to knowing how new editors experienced our projects, we wanted to learn how our projects experienced new editors. Our emails simply explain the purpose of the project and ask the participants to help Wikipedia by meeting with us in person and telling us their stories. And somebody asking you to meet in person for an hour and a half and offering nothing particular in return might not be the best possible sales pitch, but an inspiring number of people responded, and we were able to meet with 64 editors in total. 30 of them were in South Korea, and 34 of them were in the Czech Republic. Of those 64 editors, 74% were new editors and 26% were experienced editors. We also broke down our new editors into retained new editors whose activity stretched over at least a month, and non-retained new editors who didn't. And of our total 64 editors, 33% were retained new editors and 41% were non-retained new editors. In addition, it's worth noting that of our new editors, 81% were organic, in the sense that they started without going through a formal program like an editathon or course assignment. On the other hand, 19% did start that way. And this is consistent with what we expect, that depending on the community, program editors can make up a significant proportion of new editors, but organic editors remain the large majority. Back to Abby.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about our process and our methods. So this was design research, which means we were trying to learn from the people what they need so we can better serve their needs. And we chose the methodology of contextual inquiry, which means we go where people are to learn from them in their context. We did individual interviews for about an hour and a half with each person, and we observed them using their technology and working on the web in the various contexts that they do, including on Wikipedia. Oops, sorry. So I want to talk also about now a little bit about what we learned. There were 11 findings in total, and you can see it all in our deck on MediaWiki, but I'll give you a preview here. So while Wikipedia editors have a range of interests, needs, and behaviors and backgrounds, they share some common traits and behaviors that define how they spend their time. So generally, people are curious and proactive learners, and they have to decide how to spend their time in the things that they're not doing when they're working and doing other responsibilities. So is it Wikipedia? Is it the other things I'm interested in? And people generally, we observed in this research, do more complex tasks on desktop and then simple, quick tasks on their mobile phone. So personas, we observed different behaviors and motivations in this set of people that we spoke with, and we developed some personas around what we observed. Personas don't represent an individual person, but they represent an archetype of a behavior or motivation. And these 6 personas are those motivations, those patterns that we saw in the data. So I'll talk about 2 of them a little bit. So the reactive corrector, for example, they're people who fix obvious errors and gaps they see in Wikipedia, and they find the fixes easy and satisfying, but don't really relate it to a larger vision. Then the knowledge sharers are people who have a desire to share their topical knowledge with others, and they want to participate in the Wikipedia mission. So you can read about all the rest in a lot more detail in our report. And we're going to use these to help guide our decision making as we move forward. Another finding is that Wikipedia is known internationally as a respected information source. This is an asset for attracting new editors who want to shape and leverage its formal record, and it's called the global audience. People primarily begin reading Wikipedia by going to a search engine and then seeing it in the top of the results, and that implies that it's trustworthy and authoritative. But then this wide reach and the stature can also increase the pressure on new editors as they feel their edits need to be perfect, or sometimes that they feel like they're not qualified to edit what they describe as a formal encyclopedia. Another finding is that many new editors are convinced to edit by people who they trust. And the most promising benefit of these people who are inspiring people to edit is not just that they're recruiting editors, but also that they teach people how to edit over time, and they're accessible to those people that they've inspired. For example, one of the people we met in Czech Republic was inspired to edit by his priest. He's an expert in organs, so he has been editing a lot. Another one is that many new editors were confused about how Wikipedia works, or were not aware that their understanding of the operating model was incorrect. Once they started editing, most new editors did not understand Wikipedia's policies and the rationale behind them. Many new editors were not aware or had not interacted with others on Wikipedia. The new editors having difficulty engaging further with Wikimedia's, they have difficulty engaging with the culture because sometimes the community functions are hidden to them. So it's hard to find talk pages and history pages and things so where people can connect with a greater culture. So new editors often search outside. I think I was on the wrong slide. While new editors did face challenges navigating the technicalities of editing, they were most thwarted by the structures and policies regulating contribution to Wikipedia. They were confused how to apply the policies and by the rationale behind them. For those who with experience in contributing to other online platforms, Wikipedia's rules and policies were often different than they confronted, were often different than they were used to in other places. And new editors go outside, they search outside of Wikipedia for help. They find on-wiki guides and help pages time-consuming, difficult to digest, and sometimes they don't even know that they exist. If they struggle to find help, they might not ask other editors because they don't know that they can or how to. Like I said before, talk pages and user pages are not noticed sometimes. And also, without finding the help they need, sometimes new editors will leave mistakes or errors there for other editors to have to clean up, to work on. So that's just a high-level sample of some of the findings we saw. And there are next steps. We're moving forward about working with teams in the foundation and the Czech Republic community and the South Korean community to decide how we're going to apply these findings. We're going to do workshops and collaborate together and do collective decision-making all along the way with the community. And we would love feedback. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Are you interested in retaining new editors? Come along, talk with us on the talk pages. Go to MediaWiki. Here's the link where you can go. We'd love to talk with you and hear from you. And thank you.
Great. So we're almost at time, but are there any questions? Any discussions? Anybody here have a question? IRC?
So not a question as such, but I've had a couple of people ask me to pass on huge amounts of thanks to Sonia in particular for the presentation. It was really lovely to see, and thank you. That's all.
I think Sonia deserves a round of applause. Great. Well, we have, I think, maybe 2 minutes for Wiki Love. Any shout outs? Toby?
Hello. So just another thank you to our Spanish presenters, and some love to Jorge for doing the translation, which is super hard.
Totally. Yeah, thank you so much for all of our presenters. I guess we're at time. One more.
I just wanted to give Janice some wiki love because she cleaned and packed Asaf's desk, and that was a big task. So thank you, Janice.
Thank you, Janice. Great. Also, lunch will be served on the 3rd floor. So I guess, yeah, let's break for food.